Welcome to a new Daily Top Askreddit video. Today's topic.
Redditors, what is the most fucked up thing you have ever done? When I was married, my ex-wife and I went to a bar with a couple friend. They were more her friends than mine. The wife of the couple made it clear she didn't like me and spent the evening taking as many shots at me as possible. As she got drunker, the insults became more frequent and meaner. My attempts to fire back were stopped by her husband and my ex-wife. I was expected to take it but not give it. She went to the restroom and as she got off, her chair, the leg broke and she face planted. Ex-wife and bitch went to the restroom. Husband of bitch went to find the manager. I swapped chairs with the table next to ours and told the manager that the injury, a broken nose, wasn't due to a broken chair but because she was drunk and fell over. This is the best story so far. Sometimes the pettiest of revenges taste the sweetest. This thread isn't titled, "What is the awesomest thing you've ever done?" My grandpa was retired early due to disability and watched me during the day all summer until I was 11 to 12 and could chill alone after school. He spoiled the shit out of me. Took me to amusement parks, brought me to toy stores, all sorts of stuff. My parents told him to dial it back because I was being an entitled shit to them when I was 6 to 7. After this happened, I told my grandpa I wanted to go to the amusement park one day. He told me that my parents said no but maybe we could go next week or the week after. I got incredibly upset. Being the manipulative sociopath I put on the waterworks. He just said he was sorry and that he didn't want to upset my parents. So I looked at him and said, "You just don't love me anymore, do you?" He got really sad after I said that and told me that he loved me very much but we couldn't go. So I just kept going. "Why don't you love me?" Every time I said it, he got more and more distraught. Then he started to cry. I made my 56-year-old grandfather cry. The sweetest man I've ever known. The image of him crying while saying, "Please don't say things like that," is so deeply seared in my mind. I think it was one of the most important moments of my childhood as far as my emotional development. At the time I couldn't process it immediately. I didn't even apologize, I just went to my room. He didn't even tell my parents what happened. My mom said that around that time, it seemed like I matured a decade. I was quiet, polite, and incredibly well behaved. I treated my grandpa much nicer from that point forward. I couldn't bring myself to apologize for it until in my late teens when he was dying of cancer and I found out that he wasn't even blood related to me. He was my mom's stepdad. Just one of the best people humanity could offer and I owe so much of who I've become to him. Edit. Thank you for the kind words everyone. I'm not an outwardly emotional person but I cried a bit writing this in my office. I appreciate the shed tears on mine and my grandpa's behalf. Edit. Some people are asking about what he said when I apologized. I mentioned it in a couple comments but he didn't remember what I was talking about when I brought it up. He wasn't the type of person to hold on to something like that. He just laughed and told me that I shouldn't have dwelled on it for so long. I bet he was so proud to see who you became. I think I was able to make it up to him in the end. Visited him almost every day his last 6 months. I'm just happy he was able to meet the girl I ended up marrying. As much as I'm glad to hear you turned your guilt into a reason to become a better person. I hope it's a comfort to you to know that adults understand kids say stuff they don't mean out of anger, even though it was hurtful enough to make him cry in the moment. I'm sure he never for a second believed you felt that way deep down. My youngest is a mama's boy, and despises when it's my turn to put him to bed. We're mostly fine during the rest of the day, but between the ages of 2 and 4, he'd tell me every other night how much he doesn't want me in his room at all. Doesn't want me reading to him, etc. One night when he was about 4, he just straight up told me he doesn't love me. And doesn't want me living in the house anymore. Only wants it to be him and his brother and mommy. I know he didn't mean it but I definitely cried a lot that night. That's not the kind of thing you're ever prepared to handle. He knew he fucked up because he avoided me the whole next morning until finally breaking down and apologizing. We had a great day. And then next night he was back to telling me I was the worst and meanest person in the world. I pooped in a sock to slap a friend with it. Among all the answers here this one was the only one that made me say what the fuck. Except for the one about watching CPOFC. I cheated on my wife a month after our 3rd son was born. It sucks that I can't take that back. 18 years later and I still don't feel like I can ask for forgiveness. It happened in 2004. I moved out, we went through therapy, we talked about the whys and the what to do nows. I was over at our house with the kids and was watching the ALCS while we played. She was on the couch. That was the year Boston came back to beat the Yankees, and I think it was Game 7, but I'm not sure. She was never a baseball on television person, but she really followed the Sox that postseason. After the WS was over, I was over working in the yard and the kids were playing outside. She came out with a box for me. Inside the box was a Red Sox hat. We live in Atlanta, and I'm not a Sox fan. Inside of the hat was a note from my wife that said, I figure if Boston can come back and beat the odds, so can we. I love you. I still have that note in my wallet as a reminder that the thrill of the chase isn't as thrilling as finishing the race with the person I started it with. Best answer by a country fucking mile. I don't know. Poop sock was pretty good. People change. I'm so happy that your wife loves you and forgave you and NGL that made tear up a bit at the end. She seems awesome. I still want to punch you in the face, but I wish you guys the very best. Cheers beer mugs. I think we all choose this guy's wife. Even while she's alive.